What's everybody have to say about getting started a minute early? Rather than running a couple minutes late, I'll get you on time for your next one. Good morning. I know we'll have some people coming in. This is very interactive. I want to make sure that you got a keg collar from me. If you didn't, just ask me afterwards. But let's get started. Scott Colby, Market Your Craft. We're going to talk about marketing today. Strategic marketing that's going to help you grow and scale. It's weird right now. I don't need to tell you that. We're going to talk about some scary stats that look like this. And this came out from the NBWA just a couple months ago, talking about what you already know in your market, North Carolina, that the craft is down. Craft has had some challenging months, and craft has some challengers with RTDs and such, whiskeys. Morning. So I wanted to get this slide out of the way first. And can everybody hear me? I don't need to use the mic, do I? I wanted to get this slide out of the way first because the rest of the presentation is really positive. And we're going to talk about how we can use marketing to get through these times right now. You might have seen Julie Rhodes' presentation yesterday. Morning. You might have seen Julie Rhodes' presentation yesterday about budgeting for marketing, and boy is that important, because right now you can respond to what's going on in a bunch of different ways. And you may have diversified your portfolio. We've seen a bunch of breweries co-packing to kind of reduce their operational costs. You may have to make the tough call to shrink your footprint, which is so rough because you work so hard to get into multi-state. Closures and consolidations are a reality right now, which is awful. I mean, you see Rogue just the other day. 37 years in the industry doesn't make you less susceptible to what's going on in the industry. And then workforce reductions, which no one wants to see. But what we can't do as a defensive tactic is forget about marketing, because marketing is one of the tools that's going to help us get through this. And so what we're going to talk about today is the high performance marketing that can do that. Why do it now? We talk about brand awareness. In your market, it's extremely important for you to be in the conversation with your neighbor, your peers, the competitors down the street, because they're friends of ours, right? You want to use marketing to create storytelling opportunities for your brand, to help you stand out from the others in the market, and maybe even at shelf if you're at retail. If you're marketing now, it's going to put you on the front end of what they're talking about, the third wave of craft. It's going to put you on the front end of that. And then you've got your loyal folks in the community, and you don't want to let them down. So marketing is another way to continue to engage and give them the pride that they have in your breweries. And it's quite possibly the most effective survival tactic. So we're going to talk about the shortcuts that work today. Market your craft. So I help breweries, wineries, distilleries in a fractional capacity, just help them through these times with good strategies, with good tactics. When folks have questions about, I just don't understand how marketing works, that's when Market Your Craft steps in. We help guide you through that and navigate kind of the scary parts. We really like storytelling and the digital side of things. We try to automate because you folks are trying to reduce your operational costs, not add to it. And so Market Your Craft helps with that. I've been in the business for a little while, in different capacities, even an assistant brewer for BJ's Restaurants in Texas. I'm a part owner in a brewery. I live in Denver. So I see what you folks see every single day. And that's why, again, Market Your Craft is uniquely positioned to help you through it. We've worked with a bunch of different brands. The good folks at Sierra Nevada, you'll see Price today, hopefully. We've got a number of different wineries that we've worked with, some iconic distilleries, Maker's Mark, so much fun. And then also I work with a company by the name of Merlot Marketing, and this is the last pitching I'm doing today, but if you ever have any needs on the public relations side, hopefully not the bad side of public relations where you're responding to a crisis, a recall or something like this, but give the folks at Merlot Marketing a call. I gave you a keg collar because I didn't want you to have to write notes today, but this literally has everything that I'm going to present on the front and back side. And what you can do, if you have a team or if it's you and you wear a bunch of different hats, if you have a marketing person, take it back to the marketing person. Show them, hey, I sat in on this presentation from this dude from Denver. He talked about a bunch of different things we could do with our website and our email. Let's give it a look. Everything that you need, some of which you're probably already using because they're best practices, everything you need is on the keg collar. QR code, download the presentation. There are a bunch of resources online as well. The blueprint that we talk about for effective marketing is really 5 components, and I'll add a 6th as a bonus, but the 5 components are getting your website right and getting it mobile friendly. Email is not dead. Let's use it to drive taproom traffic. The social media activity, if you believe what you've heard, anywhere from 5 to 10% of your followers are actually seeing your posts. And if your folks at the brewery are taking a lot of time with social, just like Julie said yesterday, man, scale that back a little bit. Only post when it matters, because not very many people are seeing the social posts. Let's get it right. Activate drinkers with the mobile app. I'm a big fan of Tapwise. You folks may have seen them, and I'm going to talk about them in a little bit, but there's a lot of opportunity for a branded mobile app for your brewery. And then lastly, AI. Everybody's using AI. How can we as brewery owners and managers, marketing folks, use AI to our advantage and get it right the first time? Shannon and Lisa certainly helped me with this piece of it, which is North Carolina is a bit of an anomaly when it comes to the law, and I want to make sure that anything in this presentation is respectful of that, especially with respect to discounting. I understand how the discounts work. I understand it has to be available to everybody, all day parts. What you're going to see here is not in conflict with any of the ABC laws. And I want to show you how you can use each of these five components to your advantage yet today or tomorrow. Okay. Drink specials. Can't provide beers free as a part of a club. Can provide free merch, food, events, gift cards, mugs. I think the sweet spot, kind of the gray area there, is probably where we have the most wriggle room. And then can give away or discount alcohol for a private event. Does this more or less look like how we all interpret the ABC guidelines? How about? All right. The first of the components is the website. Now, again, this presentation is available for download. There are a bunch of words there, but the idea is that you are one of a lot of options for your drinkers. You have loyal folks who are always at the corner of the bar every single Friday, but those folks aren't going to be there forever. And what we promote is the idea of replace those loyal folks. You love them, but replace them with 3 new folks. Do what you can to bring 3 new butts into the tap room. And you'll see why. Obviously, you have to plan for this churn of people, but a lot of the older folks, quite honestly and completely respectfully, are kind of dying off. Their consumption habits are dying off. They're not drinking as much as they did 20 years ago. We have to realize this, and we have to replace that with new people. You would say, Scott, 21-year-old doesn't want to come into my brewery. I think we just have to give them the right incentive. So, brewery near me search on Google has to show your brewery. It has to be in the top 10 results. And if it's not, we need to find out why. Descriptors matter, like family friendly and food trucks. If you're not updating your website with your events, and if you're not putting as much relevant content and keywords on your website, then Google can't find you, which means that AI can't find you. Now, we have a favorite brewery in South Carolina, a buddy of mine, his name's Pierce. He runs Common House. You probably know of him. He's been to a lot of conferences, and he's an advocate for craft. He wants craft to win. He and I have done some work together, and his website is a great example of what we're talking about. It's not flashy, it's not showy. It has the right content that's getting picked up by search, and it's also showing up in AI searches, which is what people want to do nowadays, right? They don't want to search through 1,000 results in Google. They want Gemini to come back with the answer, the shortcut to what I'm doing tonight. It's a beautiful thing, but as marketers, for decades, we've been trying to get search engine optimization right. And all of a sudden now you're telling me that Gemini, you've done this yourself. You search in Gemini, best brewery near me that's kid friendly with a food truck, and it comes back with exactly one result. And if that's not you, they're not going to the links on the side for the sources. They're not spending that kind of time anymore. I get fired up about these things, but the point is that if you get search right, then you're going to start to get AI right. AI is not going away. AI is going to be the shortcut for everybody who needs a quick answer to their question. Let's make sure your brewery's in that mix. Okay, so they call this Google Zero. Journalists call it Google Zero. And if we are to really address what's happening with Google, with the search engine optimization that we do and the good best practices in this presentation, you will be in those results. Answer engine optimization, because this is SEO, this is AI's version of SEO. You want to do the same best practices for SEO on your website so that you're showing up in search and AI. And that really matters. Answering the questions that a consumer is going to ask, that a drinker is going to ask about your brewery before they even ask it. What beers you have on tap? What's your food truck schedule? What events do you have? When's trivia night? Can I bring my dog? If you're not answering all of these questions on your website, then you're not showing up in Google and search. Stay focused, very important. So mobile friendly sites, if your site's not mobile friendly, I would just ask why. At this point, all of the templates, all of the builders make it very easy to do a mobile friendly website, and most of the traffic, especially for breweries, is coming from mobile because they want to know again what they're going to do tonight. I sat in on a great presentation from Seth at Bull City on Sunday, and he talked about his Goose Island background and just some great community here with his couple locations. But what he talked about was remembering your why as a brewer, remembering why you get into this. The same thing is true because your why doesn't necessarily matter to the drinker in the same way that it matters to you. You have to remember the drinker's why. Why do they go to a brewery? Why am I looking for a new style? Why am I looking for something to do tonight? If you match up your why with the drinker's why, they're going to visit you. But if you don't care about the drinker's why, you only care about yours, you're not going to get the traffic that you're open for. So one last point here in staying focused is that we believe that you should front load 80% of the content of your website on the homepage, because most likely people aren't going past that. It's a harsh reality, but the stats prove it. Unless you're a super fan of the brand, you're not going to go 10 pages deep into your website. So think about events on the homepage, draft list on the homepage, a quick about me, about my brewery on the homepage. I'd list your staff, your team members. I'm not going to read through this list. It's on your keg collar, but if you're using WordPress or Shopify or Wix or any of these tools, there are plugins that get you what you need. And this example for WordPress and some others, live tap lists. This is kind of the untapped killer. If you're sick of Untapped, take a look at live tap lists. They're good people. It's easy to put up a digital board. It's easy to reflect the draft board on your website. So the point is, let's make it easier for ourselves by using something that we already have elsewhere on your digital board and bring that into your website so you don't have to duplicate the work. Dial it up with plugins. And this is a hot one. What you need to know here is that a lot of brewers are managing their daily or weekly brew schedules on something like a Google Sheet, let's say, and they've got their stats, and the stats look like ABVs and adjuncts and ingredients and everything that they need to know for brew day. Well, we like to make it easier for brewers to not have to enter that into a website as well. Multiple pages generator takes your Google Sheet and spits it out on the website. Every beer, every active beer, when it kicks, it's always up to date. So again, I'm not interested in selling you on this. I'm trying to show you that we can be more efficient. There are ways that marketing can help you optimize your brew day, optimize updating the website. Let's make less work for ourselves, not more. There's one last critical question on this one, and that's, why should I care? If I'm a drinker, why should I care about your brewery? You've got great beers, you won an award, you're a guild member. That's great. Why should I care? So your marketing should always answer this question, in my opinion. And if you can't, keep asking the question until you've answered it. Why should I care about your brewery? I've got 5 beers on tap, so does your neighbor. Why should I care about your brewery? I've got a fantastic staff. Yeah, everybody does. What's unique about you is going to help you stand out from the other breweries in this area. Not competitively, not aggressively, not maliciously, but because we all need to pay the bills. Why should I care? We're tracking pretty well. Everybody doing all right? You'll ask me questions eventually. So why email prompts action? Email is very important. And if you're not using email, I just ask, like, it takes a little bit of time to put together a newsletter once a month. A lot of breweries are still sending out an email once a week because they want their event schedule and the food truck schedule to be front and center. And that does drive traffic. 100% guaranteed. Email does drive traffic, more so than social posts in this way. Because there's a more immediate action, call to action. The email's getting read within 3 hours of it being sent. The social media post for tonight's food truck may not be seen. Email will be seen. Now, staying focused on email, you just need to do it right. There's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. I'm not going to bother you with canned spam and all the legalities of email, but you need to be respectful more than anything else of your drinker. And being respectful means not sending them too many emails, sending them the right frequency. Try once a week, once a month, whatever's right for you. They'll tell you with their unsubscribe when it's too much. Make sure to use a template. You don't have to create this thing from scratch. MailChimp and Klaviyo make it very, very, very easy to send out. MailChimp, last I heard, still has a free program, fewer than 1,000, I think. So if you have less than 1,000 people in your database, jump over to MailChimp yet this week, set up a free account, and just give it a try. Your drinkers are not gonna hate you for making a mistake on an email. What they will do is connect with you and engage with you more because you're reaching out to them actively. Ooh. I mean, have you seen these? Do these ever end up in your inbox? You don't want to be the brewery that sends an email that looks like this to me, because it screams, there are red flags all over the place. It screams, don't open me, or unsubscribe. So again, following a template, using a best practice service provider like MailChimp or Klaviyo, it's the way to go, and it helps you to avoid this kind of nonsense. Like I said, MailChimp, they're part of a bigger thing with Intuit now, so QuickBooks and all of that business, but they still do a really good job, and they have a free program that Klaviyo doesn't. Klaviyo is really tight. If you really want to get into it, Klaviyo is a great way to go, because you can plot a customer journey, and you can send them follow-up emails, and you can automate the process, and there's a lot that Klaviyo will do that MailChimp does not. It comes at a price. Just remember that email is still alive and kicking, no matter what you hear. Don't use your personal email. Find a way to either use a brewery Gmail account, or even better, beer@yourdomain.com. It might cost a little bit, but honestly, it's worth it. All right, we talked about this a little bit in the beginning, but social is changing, and it's not all for the better. It's more difficult to get your posts in front of folks today than it ever has been. There's more clutter, there's more noise, people are spending money. As a brewery, I wouldn't recommend doing a lot of boosting. You heard the same thing from Julie yesterday. It's good for one thing, in my opinion, and that is to show lifestyle, show people enjoying the time that they're having at your brewery. Those photos are invaluable, and they don't always have to be staged, but they always have to be with permission. So if you see a group having amazing time at a private event space that you have. Hey, would you mind if I took a photo for the socials? Show them laughing, show them having fun, show them cheersing, showing your beer release. Whatever that looks like, you get it. You folks have a lot of social on your channels, but I'm just saying, maybe scale it back. Do a couple a week, not a couple a day. Post it when it matters. Post people having fun. You'll find that you probably get the same engagement, more or less, when you dial it back and increase the quality of it. So we talked a little bit about this. If you really are into social, make sure that you stay up with the guidelines, the number of characters that you can post, the formats for the different video and photos. What we've seen with tools like Sprout Social, which is, it's a post once to all. If you're not familiar with Sprout Social, it's like HubSpot, Hootsuite, some of these other tools where I don't want to log in individually to my Instagram, to my TikTok, to Twitter, X. I want to post once and I want to forget about it. Even better, I'm going to be on vacation this week, so I want to schedule my post this week for next week and have them automatically post. And I don't want to have to worry about it. Hey, I want to actually do some reporting. These kind of tools give you all of that. It comes at a price, but again, I would suggest that the price is probably worth it when you're saving time and you're also able to learn more about your competitors, what they're doing, what they're posting. You can report on any of the posts, how they're doing, how they're tracking. Did they cause people to come into the brewery? There's nothing better than a schedule that kind of looks like this. If I were to look at this, and it's a representative sample of what's in Sprout Social, I'd say, yeah, I have a pretty good posting calendar, maybe a little heavy on Tuesday, Wednesday, but this is all of the different platforms and a number of different posts, all done in about 5 or so minutes. If you question where you should spend your time in social, again, the stats don't lie. It's YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, for the most part still, for that kind of sweet spot that we're probably all after, a younger drinker demographic, LPA 21 plus. Whereas TikTok in that, it's not. TikTok, a lot of folks in the last year, a lot of folks in the last year or two have kind of put their brewery on TikTok because all of a sudden it's legal. It's not legal. It's legal again. Okay, good. Whatever you think politically about TikTok, TikTok, what it represents is quick videos. And YouTube is beating TikTok for quick videos. And so if you have a channel on YouTube, post your quick videos, 15, 30. If you have a 2-minute brewing session or a tour of your place, post that on your channel. Again, it's free, and the stats tell you that, again, TikTok isn't really showing up in that group. Instagram and Facebook, you could argue that it's on its way out. It's still, by the numbers, 2 of the bigger platforms you should focus on. There's a tool, again, we were talking about plugins before, but what we really like about something similar to Smash Balloon is that you can pull your social feed directly to your website. What does that give you? It gives you lifestyle photos that you're spending time on social posting. Let's not duplicate efforts, let's get it directly to the website. That's why we call it a mashup. And then remember Linktree for Instagram to put different links in bio. you folks might disagree with us about paid influencers. You may have even been solicited. Somebody comes to your brewery and they say, hey, I'm a big deal. I have a lot of followers and I could help move your beer. And maybe they can, but probably not. A lot of the folks who are soliciting us and soliciting breweries about being a paid influencer, they're looking for product, and they think that their posts are worth a good amount of money. And in some cases they are, but work with me here. A lot of the national influencers aren't going to move product in your market. A lot of the folks that are multi-state, unless you've got multi-state distribution and they are hyper-focused on your target audience, I don't think that this is money worth spending. So we still like social, again, for the reason of lifestyle photos, but maybe give paid influencers a second thought. All right, halfway through. An app. Show of hands. Anybody have a mobile app? Or they might even be using Tapwise. Anybody offer up an app for their drinkers, consumers? Yeah, see, I think people have been nervous about it because of the North Carolina law, especially around discounting. Maybe consider it, because a branded mobile app for your brewery probably costs about $200 a month. It looks like your brewery, it has your events, it has your draft tap list, it has whatever program you're able to do, whether that's a mug club or a subscription. Again, no discounting, but just imagine an app tied to your point of sale system that allows for you to collect on a monthly basis, automagic, don't have to worry about it, a mug club or a subscription cost, $20 a month, $100 a month, whatever that looks like. They walk into the brewery after receiving an email from you saying, hey, Mug Club members, your new t-shirt is in. Because an advantage of your Mug Club is $200 per year gets you 20 beers at $10 a piece. I'm just easy math. You're not discounting the beer, but what are the perks to being a Mug Club member? A free t-shirt, invitation to the events, a private something. Again, all within North Carolina law, all managed by the app. And when they walk in, they say to Susie, who's the taproom manager today, I'd like to redeem for my Mug Club t-shirt today, please. QR code, easy to enter into the point of sale, done. Okay. Tapwise, they're good folks, Ross and Jake and all the folks there. They really care about trying to make beer work, to try and help craft grow. And so the mobile app that they've put together is far more effective and far more efficient than a lot of the other marketing efforts like social, even email to a certain extent, because you can send a message directly to the phone that says, hey, Scott, remember that we've got an event tonight. Shows up on their home screen. There's nothing more personal nowadays than this guy in your back pocket. And so that app is a connection to your phone. Just give them a check out, or ask me any questions about it. It might be very realistic. Again, at $200 a month. I don't know what your budgets are. It's none of my business. But compared to some of the other things that we're spending money on for marketing, $200 pays for itself in a couple days when you've got that direct connection to a person's phone. Again, all of this is on the keg colors. All right. This was kind of what we walked through. 2 different scenarios for the Mug Club. Free merch, invitations to events, things like this, all within the North Carolina law. It's less expensive than you think. It doesn't take a coder to do. It's very WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. What you see on screen is what they see on their phone. And so this is not Starbucks, but it acts like it. It's just as robust, but it's for your brewery. AI, if I can say this very clearly. AI is a tool, not a strategy. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, people turn to AI, and I do it every day. I am part of that. You can have your disagreements politically. You can also, as you should be very concerned about the consumption of electricity, and you know there are a lot of things that we need to get right, and it's not 100% right now. But don't get behind with AI. Understand how you can use it at your brewery, and there are a bunch of tools like you've got on your keg collar. Remember that it's not 100%. It gets pretty close when you ask it to do something, but you always have to double check. Double check for facts, and double check that it's in your brewery's voice. If you ask it to do a 3-sentence description of the event that you're having this weekend, you're selling tickets, it's very important to you. Are those 3 sentences spot on? It's probably 80%, because you have to teach it what it's like to be your brewery, what your voice is. All of these tools have the ability to teach it. You can help it learn. Again, it's not ever 100%, so make sure you check it out. Here's where we use it and where we recommend for breweries to use it if you're not already. Content creation for social, email and events and things like this. Creating a video, creating an image, it's better to take the photo yourself. These get close, and it's good for editing right now, but don't try and pass off an AI-generated photo or an AI video for something that you captured yourself at the brewery. Somebody will call you out on it. And if you do use AI and you want to use it for images and video, just make sure people know. You know, maybe even a little tag in the bottom that says, you know, from our friends at AI. Whatever you need to do, just be honest about it. Don't rely on it too much. Prospecting. So again, if you're looking for 3 times the new customers to replace the loyalists who may not be there forever, go out to the web. Go out to the web and try and find email addresses of folks in the kind of 3-county region, and you can find people who like to drink beer, who are within a certain age range, who have these kind of demographics, this kind of education. You can find those people and you can send them an email saying, hey, I was just wondering if you've ever been to our brewery. Why don't you give us a try? You know, we've got a pint night coming up and we'd love for you to be there. All it takes is one. But if we're not asking for new business, we're not getting new business. So let's use some of these tools. AI can help with that. Storytelling and reporting. Lots of words on your keg collar, but these are the services that we recommend to breweries. These are what are working for breweries right now. Everything from, again, image editing, video, Windsor for reporting, and Google Looker Studio. We like ChatGPT, but use a paid version. If you heard Julie yesterday, remember your privacy settings matter in ChatGPT. Don't give your spreadsheet out to the world. reminder. Sendbird for an agent on your website. StoryBrand, Donald Miller has written a couple books, smart guy. He helps, like Market Your Craft, he helps you to tell your story in a way that really resonates with your drinkers. And then lead generation with Apollo. Chat-based is something that we use and we've used on brewery websites. It's just the little bubble in the bottom right-hand corner of your website that says, hey, can I help you with anything? Well, now it's much more robust than just a frequently asked questions. You can ask it, well, when is the next beer release? And if that information is available on your website, then the chatbot will respond in kind. What's the event schedule for the week? How do you brew your beer? I mean, there may be some behind the curtain stuff that you can even reveal there. So I don't ever want to replace humans. I want to find a way to make us all more efficient and again, not work harder, but work smarter. Somebody who's always on 24/7 on your website, just like Facebook, helps you drive traffic to your brewery, does not hurt you. This is what that looks like. We've got good friends with Propagate Lab. If you've ever ordered yeast from them, Matthew, he's brilliant. But he's got a chat on his site. We taught it all 256 yeast strains and every single stat about every single one of them and how it compares to the competition and what it's comparable with Omega. And we taught it all of this so that 24/7 somebody could go to his website and ask an honest question about the Dunkelweizen that they are looking to brew. Tell me which yeast I should use. I was using this before. It gives all the information that Matthew has in his head, but it's available 24/7. Last one. Thanks for playing along thus far. Reporting is the bonus in all this. And we talked about the 5 things. We talked about website, email, social, app, AI. Let's report on the success of our marketing efforts so that we know to continue doing them or to stop doing them. Just like you report on a daily, weekly, monthly basis the performance of your tap rooms. The same thing is true for marketing. Expect more from marketing. The way you can do that is by reporting it. Now, there are a lot of tools to be able to do this. We just recommend that you start with the end in mind. What do you want to report on? And then we help you work back from that. We like the financial as well as the engagement metrics. Keep it simple and consistent. We call them dashboards, call it what you will, but having something that automatically sends to you every Monday before your team meeting, all the stats for the last week, across social, across your apps, across email, if you sent out emails, ties in with Arrived or Toast or whichever point of sale you're using. Like, imagine a one-pager like that sent to your email before your team meeting. You are more informed. Your team is more informed. Everybody's thinking more strategically about growing your business. But you can't do that without reporting. I don't mean to harp on that one, but I feel like it's a miss for a lot of folks. We messed around with this, and we were able to connect up all of the different things that I just mentioned. We connected with Google Looker Studio. This is just one of those tools, but we were able to connect the website, MailChimp from an email perspective, all of the socials, Tapwise, the branded mobile app, and then Arrived at the very tail end of it for a week cross-section of my business. We were able to do that for a brewery, and they loved it. Find a way to report, find what you need and what success looks like, and then get into a rhythm of seeing that and reporting on that every week. Last couple slides. So it's easy for me to stand up here and say, this is all you need. It's not. You have to have the quality product today. People aren't going to settle for just beer. You know that this is true. There was a point in time a decade ago where they would drink whatever you put in front of them. That time is not now. So the quality product has to be there. Events and experiential. If you were to ask a younger drinker right now why they go to a brewery, it's going to be for the experience that you give them, probably before it's for the beer. So think about what events you have. Don't just rinse and repeat. Try and come up with something new. Public relations, we talked a little bit about it in the beginning. It's free press. Public relations, if you're not as familiar with it, it's getting journalists to talk about your brewery. If you got something to say, come up with a small list of media friendlies, people at the local TV station, the radio station. There's a couple online magazines that are in the area. Get them talking about your brewery. This is free press for you, and it builds awareness because the drinker who hasn't been to your brewery yet, who reads that article, they say, wow, I had no idea that they had a full lineup of local acts. I'll give them a try. It's fun. Free. It does take time. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it's free to get that kind of publicity. Tasting room experience is very important. Andrew Copland, he had a great presentation on Sunday. You've probably worked with him in the past at Secret Hopper, for Secret Shopping. He does an audit, an objective audit with a secret shopper of your brewery. Just be objective once a month. Have somebody give you the honest feedback about what the tasting room experience is like, and always be dialing it up. And then lastly, it's marketing is a budget line item. Please allow room and budget for marketing. We talked about how challenging things are in the beginning of the presentation. Now is not the time to shy away from marketing. Quite the opposite. It doesn't have to cost a lot. We've seen some really efficient ways to get your message out there. However, please make sure that you do it. Please make sure that there's a little money or a little time or a resource dedicated to working through some of these things. Otherwise, you're going to get focused on something else. I've got 20 other problems, and marketing is not one of them. Yes, actually, marketing should be high up on that list. So there are a lot of resources. You've got the keg collar. It's got the website, Market Your Craft, on there. Download whatever you want. All of the guides you have access to. So this is a code that gives you the keys to the castle. If you're interested in any of the guides, they're do-it-yourself things, they're quick hits, best practices on what you can do to get your digital, your social, your public relations engines running like most efficiently. And as always, I appreciate the Guild. I appreciate Shannon and Lisa and all of you folks. I'm available for questions. We ended just a little bit early. And thank you. Thank you for making the time this morning. I really appreciate it.
Back to the email conversation. Thinking about, it seems like the perspective here was talking directly to our direct customers that are coming into tap rooms. I was wondering if you had thoughts on how a different strategy might apply to talking to buyers that we're selling to groups. I don't know if you tackled that in the past.
A great question. If we didn't hear it, I'll summarize. there's the consumer side of things and there's the trade side of things. And so you might talk to your consumer a little differently than you might talk to distributors, wholesalers, retailers. Is there a strategy perhaps for that? The answer is yes, absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought it up. We've talked a lot about the consumer side of things, but just as important are the trade relationships that you folks have. If you've worked beyond a self-distribution model and you've got partners out there in the industry, you need to have a concerted effort to give them the tools that they need to sell your brand, if that's at retail, if it's singular or multi-state. What we've done, in addition to the quarterly presentations that you're likely making to the distributor, we like to have an email set up that focuses on ways to help them sell. So it's not necessarily from a consumer side. That angle would be why we're delicious and the events that we're having. How I can help a distributor sell to a retailer is we're growing. We have an active event schedule. Here's our beer release schedule. Here's when the canning schedule is. The more information that you give to the distributor rep, the easier it is for him or her to have a conversation at retail that looks like, man, their brewery is really killing it. I was just there the other day. They've got food trucks all the time. It's always busy. So hopefully that helps, but two different conversations for sure, both extremely valuable. Thank you. What else? Anybody else have burning question on their minds, something that we can do specific to your brewery? Talk about it.
I was curious if you're familiar with Toast marketing.
Toast.
What do you think of that?
The platform for checkout and whatnot?
They have a marketing, it's a monthly fee, and it includes SMS and email and campaigns, and it tracks it based on what, if those customers come in and eat in your establishment, drink in your establishment.
Yeah, great question. So if people didn't hear, what do we think about Toast marketing services? Not just the checkout service, but their extended platform for marketing. I don't have a lot of experience with Toast from their marketing services perspective, but I've done a lot of work with Arrived, and Arrived similarly a couple years ago extended their marketing services, and there's no one-size-fits-all solution. So I would just encourage you to start out with what success looks like for your brewery, and then ask yourself if Toast is delivering all those best practices. If it's from an email perspective, MailChimp and Klaviyo will always be better than Arrived and Toast. What they do very well is marketing, or rather reporting and segmentation. And so Toast and Arrived allow you to dig into the data and start to form groups of people who have buying behavior. They're more or less frequently visiting. Here are the beers that they are and aren't buying. Here's their average spend. And when you can segment your consumer behavior like that, then export that and take it to MailChimp and send out a very specific call to action email. I don't think you need Toast marketing services in order to achieve that. You're already getting the reporting, most likely from using them as a checkout service. Sorry that I don't have more specific info on that. Yeah, Q.
What are your how do you feel about the SMS marketing? As far as like using it through MailChimp, like have you used that by any chance?
Yeah, and Klaviyo as well. We have to be careful. Klaviyo is a little better actually at SMS marketing as a part of their total email and SMS service. Julie talked about it just yesterday. There are guidelines with respect to email and text and those also include alcohol, and we have to be very careful with the SMS texting for alcohol.
Right.
So what I might suggest, again, for your brewery, you may take a look at something like a mobile app, because there aren't per text charges for any messages that you send directly to the person's phone. You have more creative control, you have more characters that you can use, and you can link them, just like you can in SMS, directly to a web page or a portion of the app.
Okay, well, let me pinpoint. Have you seen success with SMS with any other outlets? Let's just say it's not alcohol, just in general, like with other businesses?
I think that email is more effective than SMS,
Yeah.
honestly. We have gotten so accustomed to blocking folks on our phone, and so I'd rather give a message of substance by way of your mobile app or your email than SMS. SMS hasn't been asked for recently by any of our clients. Good question. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, again.
Could you give us a couple of targets for what to expect in terms of open rates for some of our email, like newsletters?
Yeah, for sure. So it depends on where you are in your life cycle. A startup brewery is obviously going to have a harder time engaging with folks, but once you've been in the game for 2 to 3 years, 2 to 5 years, you should expect 30 to 40% open rate. And within the first couple emails, you're going to see a lot of attrition. It might be folks who opt out just because, you know, they were on an old list, or you went to a festival and you grabbed their email at one point, and then 2 years later you're emailing them and they forgot how they met you. So your first couple emails are going to see a good amount of unsubscribes. Don't worry, because the people who stay with you are going to engage at about 30 or 40%. From a click-through rate, depending on what your call to action is, if it's visit the website, check out our event calendar, see who the food truck is for the week, you can expect 1 to 3%. Anything above that's great. Yeah, good question. Everybody's been great. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you again for the opportunity.